Hi Royce, Matty Taylor. I can see him getting his car. I've decided to go to Bolt. I'm waving him going out the car park.
Just love moving teams, and then you have to do an initiation.
They just don't seem to be able to get deals over the line.
It was one of the weirdest transfer windows of all time. An absolute record amount spent by Chelsea. I think, would Chelsea have broken all the previous records on their own? Chelsea spent $323 million in the January transfer window. Phil is with us. We're going to start though with Matt Doherty. A good deal for Matt Doherty, a good moment in Matt Doherty's career.
Yeah, well, if he's going to get into the team, he's going to have to get in ahead of a World Cup winner, Molina, who's the current right back, and at the moment Simeone seems to be playing a 4 at the back, which obviously we kind of associate Matt Doherty with being a wing back. But yeah, look, we were talking here yesterday about, you know, what kind of transfer deadline day could we expect, and then the Matt Doherty news broke, and that definitely
just got after we were off air.
Yeah, no, but it definitely got everyone's interest, because Atletico's a huge club.
Yeah.
I mean, they're one of the big 3 in Spain. Diego Simeone, getting to play for Diego Simeone, what will he pick up playing for him?
We all know
the dark arts.
Yeah.
Show the rest of the Irish
Hogwarts.
team.
Yeah,
exactly.
If we were to become one of the most annoying pains in the hole to play against in world football, I would be delighted.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, you were talking about it there. You got to do whatever it takes to win.
You'd want Matt Doherty just running one of the Irish training sessions before the French game and just doing a whole lesson on Simeone tactics and shithousery. Well, just like basically Matt Doherty up at a chalkboard or a whiteboard.
This is what I've learned in 3 weeks, lads.
Yeah.
I've learned in a lifetime.
He's going to need it if he's probably going to be marking Mbappe.
Surely Antonio Conte knows a thing or two about this too. We're underrating Antonio Conte's. In fairness, Shane made the point, he's worked for some really, really brilliant managers now. Yeah. And like, again, I have no idea if he wants to go into management, but he's going to have a good book, you would hope, and plenty of good stories at the end of this. But equally, like, if he was to become a coach, it's a different path he's taken.
Yeah, and look, there's going to be a lot more Irish people watching Spanish football on a Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, the kick-off times, whatever happens. But the way it's worked out, the fact that the Spurs contract was terminated means that if it doesn't go well from an Atletico, he's a free agent in the summer, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of suitors there.
Yeah.
And if it goes well, he gets a permanent deal with Atletico.
Win, 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 win. That's it.
Spanish weather. He's got quality of life over there.
What time of year to be heading over to Spain? You know?
Yeah,
perfect. What a move!
It's sprung.
Well, I mean, London's pretty good weather-wise.
Not bad, yeah. Further south, yeah.
Better than Wolverhampton.
Shane Duffy's move to Fulham was made permanent. He'd been on loan here. This is an accounting procedure, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's not getting a kick of the ball at Fulham. So going back to what we were talking about, the international game in March, that would suggest that he's not going to play against France. And I think the general feeling, even when Stephen Kenny took over, that players like Shane Duffy would be phased out. But in fairness, when Shane Duffy came back into the team, because he wasn't playing well at the time when he was with Celtic, he was having a tough time off the pitch as well. And he kind of came back in, and he still poses that goal threat that, you know, we find ourselves 1-0 down, and the panic at the end, just start lumping the ball in. And Shane Duffy's always good for a goal or setting up a goal. But yeah, you'd be surprised if he gets much game time between now and then with Fulham.
Manchester United ended up having to sign somebody because Christian Eriksen's injury proved to be much worse than was feared. They're talking about late April, early May, for him to return from the ankle injury caused by Andy Carroll in the FA Cup match. Erik ten Hag is out saying these types of challenges are absolutely ridiculous. We've seen it now, two big games in a row in the Cup where players have had significant injuries because of these types of tackles, and maybe we need to have a conversation around that. But they've gone and they've signed, I don't know, is it Sabitzer? Sabitzer.
Bits in the middle. Yeah.
Sabitzer.
It's a good deal, isn't it?
Do you know what?
Is it a good deal? Is he a good player?
He is a good player.
He's versatile as well. Like.
Yeah, he is. He, I would say, is more dynamic than Christian Eriksen. I would say Eriksen's a bit of a cooler customer when under pressure, but like Eriksen, Sabitzer has a decent shot in him. If he's got a sight on goal 30 yards out, he's going to have a shot, and he can play in a few different positions. And it just actually shows that the difference a few months makes for Manchester United, where, you know, the news breaks that Eriksen's out until late April, and then an hour later they're being linked to Sabitzer, and you're thinking,
Yeah.
geez, that actually makes a lot of sense.
The point is as well, so they've got West Ham in the FA Cup 5th round. They've got probably a Carabao Cup final against Newcastle. They're fighting for top 4, and they've got Barcelona in the Europa League. The fact that they're fighting on 4 fronts is why they've bought Sabitzer. Like, if they were out of 2 of those cups at this stage, mightn't have even made the move. But they need options with Ericsson out.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's a loan move.
In the push for top 4, they had to make a move, right?
Yeah.
Because he clearly is using the players who are there, but do we think McTominay has a long-term future? I'm not even sure Fred has a long-term future. Like, these players are improving under Ten Hag, but if he can replace them with players who he thinks are even a step above and have a higher ceiling, then he's going to do that. I think to your point, Phil, like in previous years, the injury would have happened. They would have been linked with a gazillion players. I mean, they were linked with a gazillion players yesterday, obviously, when the news came through. But nothing would have happened for months and months and months and months. They would have signed a player replacement in the summer, by which time it was too late.
Yeah, and then you're just, as you said, the term you used yesterday was the banter era. Like, it's over. Manchester United under Eric Ten Hag, where they're starting to do things sensibly, and they haven't let players go out either. There was talk that Alanga might go out, but it goes back to what you're saying, Shane, is that they need that bit of depth, where there is certain games where you got to rest players, and you've got 5 substitutions, so sometimes you just got to grind it out for an hour, and then you bring on your impact players and you get the win.
Tell you who wasn't having it yesterday was Paul Merson on Sky. Panic buy, doesn't get playing for Bayern. That wasn't having Sabitzer to United whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know how much of the Bundesliga Paul Merson
There
watches.
is that as well, yeah.
But look, this guy is...
Thiago didn't play that much for Bayern, did he? And he's been okay for Liverpool, you'd have to say. He's been a good signing.
He's a veteran international. He's only 28, but he's got...
Did Thiago play every game for Bayern? Am I wrong about that?
Well, Thiago was brilliant in the Champions League final when they won it. No, like, Thiago's problem has always been injuries.
Yeah.
So that's why when I saw Liverpool linked with N'Golo Kante, I was like, Liverpool don't need another injury-prone midfielder.
The last thing they need, in fact.
No, definitely not. But they decided just to sit out the January transfer window after Cody Gakpo. They just moved away from the window, went back to the corner of the room, and that was that. And Everton the same.
Everton were clawing at the window, though.
Everton is just... You kind of... We talked, obviously, about whether they could get Bielsa interested in coming on board. If they had managed to get him in, which obviously they didn't, and then done nothing in the transfer window, we'd be reading a statement out now.
Bielsa's resigning.
Is it true that Bielsa wanted the under-21s job, not the senior job?
He obviously wanted the senior job, but he didn't want it.
No.
He basically looked at it and said, no, I'd need the whole pre-season, which is what he tends to do anyway. He does. But I suppose you kind of, if you're Everton, you have to talk to him to see, could you convince him that, you know what, break the tradition, see, can you come in? And he obviously assessed it. He thought, no. But do you know what? I will have a look at the under-21s and I will build them up. And
most Bielsa thing ever.
Yeah, but it's... look, they've got Sean Dyche. We're going to find out in the next few months, was Frank Lampard the problem? If Sean Dyche gets Everton, I was going to say Burnley, if he gets them working their way up the table with the same group of players but just better organised, then it won't really reflect too well on Lampard. Regardless of what happens anyway, Everton are not in a good place.
That's the least I expect, though. I do expect them to be better. And I also think that not losing anybody else other than the disaffected kid who was like, didn't really want to be there, maybe that's an addition by subtraction, because all of their other players who are any good have been linked with various teams over the course of the transfer window as well. So maybe it's not the complete disaster that it looks on the face of it when they didn't sign anybody. Just on Chelsea, right? Is there anything that you think that makes any sense in what they've done, or like next year, are Chelsea going to be the best team in world football as a result of the business they've done up to this point?
I mean, they've signed 18 players under Todd Bowley. It's a whole new squad. And some, like Graham Potter, he's got unbelievable players to work with now, but in a way you wonder, is this creating way too many headaches for him? Like, some managers like to work with a smaller pool of players, but he now has to sit down and try and work out what system suits the way he wants to play, what players suit the way he wants to play, best positions for all these players. And with all these signings, obviously, it just creates even more pressure. You draw 1-1 against Everton. Chelsea fans are going, you've got the most expensive player in in British football, sitting in midfield, he's a World Cup winner. Why aren't you beating Everton? Or I'm just using Everton for example. Just the expectation is going to just go through the roof.
Does Tom think he's playing the PlayStation?
He definitely thinks he's playing some sort of fantasy football.
It's madness, and as we were saying earlier, the money is monopoly money at this stage for him.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this is the January transfer window where the Premier League clubs have spent the most, and when you just see the figures of what the Premier League has spent in the rest of Europe, I said it's no surprise why the Super League was put on the table and why you kind of suspect it'll come back around.
It's definitely coming back. It's definitely that has not gone away. One last thing: where will Chelsea finish this season?
I don't think they're going to finish top 4. I think, like, you're obviously looking. I have the top 2 are locked in.
Can't finish top 4 at this stage.
No, I have the top 2 locked in, whether it's Arsenal or City.
Yeah.
Then I watched Newcastle last night. Now I know, look, the tie was done and dusted, but they were atrocious in the second half. You just wonder, as the season goes on, will they start dropping points? They're very hard to beat, but will they start drawing too many games? But then again, if they were to go and win a League Cup, that could give them the ultimate high, and then they finish the season out strongly. United, again, look like they're going to do it as bad as Spurs have been. And they're still there.
I came into the apartment yesterday evening to my Arsenal supporting housemate, my Arsenal obsessed housemate, and I was like, "Oh, geez, 12 million for Jorginho. You must be delighted." And he says, "Yeah." But Arsenal fans are fairly split. He says, we're so used to buying Chelsea deadwood, whether it's Petr Cech or Willian or David Luiz, players who were good, and then they picked them up at a tail end. Like, is Jorginho heading that direction, or is Jorginho actually a good... Like, if he scores 10 goals, 10 assists, whatever it might be between now and the end of the season, helps them win the league, it'll have been a good signing, but could go the other way.
But he's also coming into a much better Arsenal team.
Yeah, fair.
That's the difference. He suits the way Arsenal play. He's going to come in and he's not going to be a starter every week. But if Thomas Partey's not available, Jorginho sits there and just gets the ball rolling, conducts everything. And he's not going to score goals. He's not going to set up too many goals. But that's not what his role will be. And Arteta obviously is a big fan of him. And
take the penalties off Saka?
No.
No?
No, you can't. You got to.
Why can't you?
Because he's really excited and he's a burgeoning, blossoming talent, and you back him and you tell him you're my number one guy. The thing about Jorginho, and I saw this only in one place, so I'm not sure if it's true, but there's only an 18-month contract, so they're not marrying him. Yeah. This is like a short-term affair to get them over the hump, and they can cash in on him in the summer and get the money back if they win the league and sign Declan Rice, or if Moses Caicedo or whoever it was that they actually really wanted.
Jude Bellingham.
So it's just it's in that instance it's good business as opposed to panic buying, which we would have.
It's been a good window for Arsenal. If you think that they're obviously top of the league, they've brought in a new centre half, they've brought in a new midfielder, and they brought in a new attacker.
I think they're the winners of the transfer window in terms of we've strengthened our team from a position of strength. We're not the chaos and the financial fair play disaster ticking time bomb that I suspect Chelsea will end up being.
And you haven't offloaded one of your best fullbacks like Man City.
Because you had a fit of peak. We'll come back to the Cancelo thing in the months to come, as if they get one injury in that, all of a sudden, well, if only we had the guy who was like brilliant last season, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, we got to go. That is this week's today's Deal or No Deal.
Hi Royce, Matty Taylor. I can see him getting his car. I've decided to go to Bolt. I'm waving him going out the car park.
Just love moving teams, and then you have to do an initiation.
They just don't seem to be able to get deals over the line.